Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Mohawk College Entrepreneurship Conference Mindshift. My name is Stephen Stunt, and I'm going to be hosting the Fireside Chat segment. I'm thrilled today to be joined by three outstanding women entrepreneurs: Chantel Carter, who is the founder of Love and Nudes; Jennifer Beal, an award-winning networker, a people connector; and Natasha Clarkson, who's very active in giving back in her community, as well as the founder of the Moccasin Shop. So ladies, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you for having us.
So we'll just have a fun, as I said, a fireside chat. We're going to keep it open. The floor is going to be yours most of the time, but I guess I want to start off, you're all entrepreneurs. We're all in that sector.
Mm-hmm.
I heard a great line. Someone told me that if you've been fired once from a job, you're a good entrepreneur. If you've been fired twice from a job, you're an even better entrepreneur. The third time, you're not sure if you quit or you got fired. It was like a toss-up going out the door. You're an outstanding entrepreneur. Having said that, I think everybody has a defining moment of why they decided to become an entrepreneur. Let's go around the Zoom room here and go through what was a defining moment to say, okay, I'm going to do my own thing. Jennifer, kick us off.
I've been fired for every job I've had. I don't know if I'm outstanding as an entrepreneur, but no, what it really was I don't do well. I don't do office politics. I can't work in an organization where people are picking at each other. I'm a giver. I give generously. I give a lot. And I found in that kind of environment, I was often used and I was not acknowledged for what I would do. And it was hard. And so when the opportunity came for me to start my own business, I did it through one of the government programs. A contract ended, I just jumped on it and I just threw myself in and I figured I'll figure it out as I go. And I did. That was 25 years ago.
Isn't that awesome? Natasha, your story.
I would have to agree with Jennifer. I've never really fit into the office politics. I decided I wanted to work for myself when I was like 14 and started selling stuff. And I was like, when I got my first job, I was like, I'd already made myself some money to buy my first car to go to Mohawk College for business. And I was like, I don't even need school. I'm already here. I've arrived. So I was like, I was kind of set on being my own boss and,
yeah,
that was the moment when I arrived at school. I was like, all right, like, I just want to do this for myself.
Good for you. Chantel, what was your defining moment to start?
Well, it's somewhat how you described, Stephen. I got fired from many jobs and I was constantly dissatisfied. Something in me kept saying, is this it? Is this it? Being in this gray cubicle farm? It can't be. There's so much more that I need to do, but I couldn't figure it out. And then finally, when I had the idea for Love and Nudes, and I got laid off again, I was like, okay, that's it. I'm not doing this again, chasing after jobs that don't fit me. And I just didn't belong to corporate setting in my experience.
Yeah. I had a student, I asked a question to a student in a class one day. I said, what is it about an entrepreneur? And the student had an interesting answer. And the student said to me, I just think entrepreneurs are different. Are they different? Are we different than the rest of the world in the way we think and the way we operate?
Well, if I can go, I think for me, I ask a lot of questions that people don't like to hear. And I challenge the status quo, which people don't like either. Not even my parents. They didn't like it. They had a tough time with me, when I would question, well, why? And my mom would say, well, that's just the way it is and deal with it. And I could never get on board with that. Never. Yeah. And I thought there was something wrong with me for a long time until I realized it isn't. There isn't.
Jennifer, you've been in business a long time. Yeah. I've had a history with you. I've known you from way back. I don't know if we've ever really connected in person, but through our circles of connections and the networking stuff that you do. If you look back, what's the most favorable part for you of being an entrepreneur?
Oh, it's people. hands down, it's the people that I've met, the people I get to hang out with. I've worked with some of the world's top speakers like Brian Tracy. And I mean, and the thing is that I made that happen. I was the one, because of being entrepreneurial and I saw what I wanted to do. So for me, like the best part of all of this is who I get to hang out with. And I've worked with some of the best brains on the planet. And that feeds my soul. Yeah, that feeds me and juices me up.
Yeah. Natasha, most favorite part of being an entrepreneur?
It's rewarding at the end of the day. Sometimes you meet the people. I would agree with that as well. You know, breaking the mold and, you know, figuring problems out. Like, I mean, Indigenous products. When I found out I couldn't find real Indigenous moccasins, that was the first thing, you know, create a need. If there's a need for something, then you've got a business right away. So yeah, I would say that's it for me.
And your favorite part, Chantel?
My favorite part is bringing my vision to life and knowing that, like Jennifer said, I did that.
Yeah.
Along with meeting other people. There's a whole nother world out there that I didn't know, of people who have similar mindsets, who want to move forward, who want to build things, who are social entrepreneurs as well. And connecting with those people, I feel like the sky's the limit. No, it's not even the limit. It's just the possibilities are endless. So it's fascinating to me.
Does it have to start with a passion, though, of having a passion? I know, Jennifer, people are your passion. Natasha, working within your community, I think it's a passion. Solving a problem, Chantel. Does it have to start with your passion to be a good entrepreneur? Is that a tough question?
I'm just waiting for somebody who wants to go. I don't want to hog.
Well, I'll go first. Well, first, Stephen, my passion was not people. If you knew me 25 years ago, you would know I was awkwardly shy. Walking in a room where there were people that I didn't know, I mean, I would rather, well, I missed some really big events in my life because I was so afraid. And so that I had to force myself to do. But in the process, it became the people, because people taught me things, and then people responded to me, and I came out of that awkwardness. I have business to thank for that I was able to really become myself fully.
Yeah. So now is it a passion though?
The people are everything. Everything I do is about the people, and how can I make people's lives better, business people more successful.
Awesome. Yeah. And Natasha, your passion, is it hard to keep that passion alive and going every single day?
No, I've been like this my whole entire life. I have a book that's always with me, and I write down ideas. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. I've been blessed enough that most of the time they do work. And I have found that the most rewarding probably is like in my career so far as the time I gave someone their first home, their first affordable home. They were 50. I think they were around 50 years old. And they said, you know, they've never had housing before. And that was kind of what broke me. And then I was like, all right, I want to work with people.
Yeah, that's very powerful. Wow.
Yeah.
And Chantel, let me ask you, in your business day, you know, and we all go through this, right? And again, I think people think that entrepreneurs are superhuman, right? That they can do everything. And I'm not sure if that's always the case, but what's the hardest thing in your business in a day that you've got to do each and every day? What's the hardest thing that you go, I have to get to that. I got to deal with this. Is there one thing that is hard to do?
Yeah, for me, it is protecting my energy.
Okay.
And just protecting my energy to get the things that I need to get done to move me forward, right? And forward is defined as maybe income or speaking opportunities.
Right.
Yeah, so it's really like protecting and managing my energy.
Okay. So if we talk about that energy, and I think that's part of the motivation part, I think. So I'm going to throw this question out to all of you. and I think I know the answer, I think from just hearing what I'm hearing, but what truly motivates you? You know, true entrepreneurs are not always motivated by money. You know, I think they're motivated by what they see happening at the end of a day, like in Natasha's case, where, you know, someone getting a house for the first time at 50, that's motivating. What motivates you to keep going? All of you.
Well, when I wake up in the morning, I don't look at my day as what do I have to do. I look at my day and go, what do I get to do? Who do I get to meet today? Where do I get to go with all of it? And so the motivations are many, though. I don't think it's one thing, Stephen. Money does motivate me. I mean, I got bills to pay. Yeah. So I need to get up and get this stuff done. But what I think where the juice comes, where it's fun and there's flow and there's a lot of ease, is because of how I have crafted this to fit my lifestyle, to fit who I am, and to include people around me where we feed each other and we raise each other up. And so the energy is always high.
I like that. The same question, Natasha.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Just what keeps you motivated?
Oh, what keeps me motivated?
Yep.
I would, it has nothing to do with money at this point.
Okay.
It's just the desire to keep helping. I think every time I help like a situation, or like the team comes together and we problem solve together, like that keeps me motivated. Okay, we did it. We did this on time. We did this on budget. Let's do it again. Can we go bigger? Can we
okay.
go? Yeah, I just keep it. If you keep growing, it keeps you motivated. If you start going the other way, that's when I get that sickness in my stomach.
Right. I hear you.
Yeah, and I don't want that sickness. I've had some projects that went the other way and I was like, oh, I gotta fix this. And yeah, it keeps me motivated to keep the progression up.
Chantel, your motivation, and you know, I've been on your website several times prior to us meeting here, and it looks like it's a train rolling. It's happening, right? There's good things happening.
Yeah.
And that takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of effort, right? But there's something there that motivates you to keep moving forward and getting to the next level, I think.
Well, yeah, I'm really proud to be the first in Canada to develop a skin tone, and a diverse, inclusive skin tone line.
Yeah.
And that is definitely a motivation that keeps me going. But to get really granular about what motivates me, it is, I'm seeing that it's having the business, everything has to be cohesive in my life. Other people give me energy. It's not constantly being behind the computer trying to make things happen. It's what's happening outside of my life. And I mean, not outside of my life, outside of the business too, who I'm connected with. If I'm cooking, if I'm giving myself a chance to be really creative, I can bring back so much to the business, and I discover new things because I worked outside of the business. I cooked, I decided to make something. I went and had a conversation with somebody. I visited with somebody. That's what keeps, I realize that is what keeps me going.
Yeah. For all of you, do you feel you have to step away sometimes? You know, and so, you know, instead of being in front of a computer all day, or you have to just step away, clear your mind. And is that time when you do step away, does that give you some creativity on what you're looking at doing next?
Yeah, Stephen, if you actually, you know, if anybody studies into it, biologically, we can only work so long. And then our brain uses up all the glucose that it has, and we need to recharge. Like a car runs out of gas. That's how I look at it. That's how it's been explained to me. And so, yes, recharging, but I've got my life down. I've got my business. I work 4 or 5 hours a day. That's it. I'm off evenings. I'm off weekends. I've created like the ideal life with a business that gives me a really great income. And so I think that would be like, people need to know what the vision is, where they want to go in their business. How do you want your life to be? And not just your bank account, and then start creating that every day. So every day I get up and I do a little bit more of what I want to do. I make my day more about how I want it to be, and a little bit less how I don't want it to be. And then just little by little by little, I've been able to get to this place where I actually have the perfect day. the perfect life.
Was there a time, Jennifer, where you worked a lot more hours than that?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
When I first started out, I mean, those were 60, 70-hour weeks easily.
Yeah.
But I didn't want that for myself. That was not the dream. And I over the years have made it so that it's exactly how.
Well, there's that saying, you've all probably have heard it, that entrepreneurs or individuals would rather work 14 hours a day for themselves just to avoid working 8 hours a day for somebody else. And I think that's very true of entrepreneurs. And the other thing I've noticed about entrepreneurs, you know, if you were working for a company, if you work for somebody, you're sitting there midweek and you're going, is it Friday yet? But I think as an entrepreneur, I think your mindset changes and all of a sudden you go, is it Friday already?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just a different way of how you think about that. If we talk about mentoring, at Mohawk, in our division called Surge, which is a part of the Center of Entrepreneurship, we have a faculty student business run mentoring program. Have all of you had a mentor in your life related to your business to help you, or a business coach or mentor to kind of get you to where you are now? And if you have, can we talk about that? Chantel?
Yeah, I think that was an essential part of my journey, having a business coach. I invested in that. It was an investment that scared me to death, but I felt like I had no choice if I wanted to keep moving forward. So I think that for me, that was an essential part of my business growth. And I have like a personal development coach as well, a repatterning coach, like it's the same person as well, that helps me from week to week to get over my blocks, my anxiety. It's essential.
Awesome. Natasha, do you have a mentor that you work with?
I've had a few mentors. I would probably say my first person that I looked up to was my uncle Wendell Clarkson. He came to the Mississauga area and he was selling Filter Clean vacuums, and then he was knocking on doors and he one day owned the whole company. So I grew up with that in Clarkson and Mississauga.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. But he knocked on doors selling vacuum cleaners, and then he ended up buying the company. So that was pretty cool to watch that happen.
So you're coming into this naturally then, for sure. Wow.
I would say so. I mean, you don't know it when you're younger, but you don't know anything else, right? So.
Yeah. Jennifer, you and I kind of had the same mentor for a while. And I think you know who I'm going to mention here, but I'll let you talk about that relationship.
Okay, well, this has got to be Donna Messer.
It does, yeah.
Yeah. You know, I have mentors. I read books. Those are my mentors. Mentorship can be anywhere with anybody. Yeah. And there were particular people in my life, for whatever reason, they cared about me. And some of them really kicked my butt hard, you know, and I don't like it, but I'm really grateful they did. They cared about me that much that they would take that interest. And Donna Messer was one of those people. I mean, you know, Donna, she was just like, do this. And you go, I don't want to do that. And you go, yes, Donna, okay, I'll do that. And the things that she recommended that I do, like they turned out so well. Like they really moved me along. And she was one of those people, she cared about us. You had to know that.
And Donna, just for context here, Donna was probably the premier networker, I said, in North America. She was so connected and so willing to help you get connected to other people. Just very quickly, Jennifer, I don't know if I've ever told you the story, but I was looking to interview a woman named Cora, who started the Cora's breakfast chain of restaurants. I have no idea how to get a hold of her or much about her. And I thought, well, I'm going to call Donna Messer. And I called Donna Messer on her cell phone, and Donna picked up her cell phone. She was in a restaurant. Donna, it's Stephen Stunt. I'm trying to reach a woman named Cora. She says, oh, hang on. And she passed her cell phone across the table. She was sitting with Cora.
Yeah.
And that was a Donna Messer true story, how she lived her life. Unfortunately, Donna's no longer with us, but she left a great impact on many, many people. Can we talk about life balance? And has entrepreneurship affected family or friend relationships at all?
Yeah, I don't think there is such a thing as life balance. I don't even think it's worthy of trying to get to it. But I had a mentor many years ago who taught me a different concept called converging. And what I've done in my life is I've taken every area of my life, my community, my career, my passion, and brought it all together so that it all overlaps, and tried to the best of my ability to live in the sweet spot that's in the middle. And so now my friends are business people. We don't really care if we talk about business or we talk about social when we get together, because our social needs get met through all of that. And so that has proven to be better for me. And it's also saved me a lot of time. So I'm no longer fragmented out there trying to do my family over here, my community over there, my business here, my friends there. I just, bring it all together so it all overlaps. And that has worked exceptionally well for me, trying to juggle a whole bunch of different things.
Yeah. Chantel and Natasha, what challenges have you had with kind of finding that balance? And you could be right, Jennifer. Is there such a thing as balance? I don't know. But what challenges, Natasha and Chantel, have you had in trying to reach that?
Sorry.
Okay, you go. Natasha.
Okay. I really was not spending enough time with the ones that I cared most about in the beginning, and I thought it was work. And there was like an empty feeling in myself. So in the first thing in the morning, my first priority is I love my dogs. So that is my first thing. So I go out for like a big long walk every morning, as long as it's not freezing rain. And I make sure that happens first, because if I put it at the end, it never happens. So that's how I've organized my schedule.
Awesome. And Chantel?
Well, for
balance?
Me, it's somewhat has to, I'm learning, fall into place now. Like friends and family who don't understand what I'm doing, they can be there in the background and I can love them from a distance, but whoever fits into my life and wants to fit into my life, that's how I manage it. It's like, now I'm having fun with my family in my business, like involving them in different things, creating other opportunities with friends and family that could bring forth something more richness or even potential income to my business. You just have to fit. I'm not going to try to, convince old friends, and kind of like what Jennifer said, it's too fragmented. If you fit and you get it and you want to come along with me and learn something and be inspired, or if you want to teach me something too, great. If you don't, bye. Or I love you from a distance. But I still love you, because that's all I can do. It goes back to protecting my energy too.
Yeah. Probably about 10 years ago, I was in the studio and I was interviewing Arlene Dickinson from Dragon's Den fame. And I used the term woman entrepreneur. And Arlene said, wait, stop. Entrepreneurs are entrepreneurs, period. And she didn't like that idea of defining woman entrepreneur, male entrepreneur. Didn't like that. Okay. However, I'm going to throw this out. I find that women entrepreneur, they don't look at competition in business the way that maybe men do in business. I use a term for the women I know in business, and I use this term co-opetition. They seem to help each other and support each other more in business. Is that a fair statement? And we all have competition. I get that.
Not all women are like that. I don't think all women are like that, Stephen, but I think that if you are that kind of person and you're seeking collaboration, then you certainly want to be pulling in people around you that have a collaborative heart and mindset. I don't think that that's defined by, being a woman or being a man or anything else.
Okay, that's fair. Anyway,
I agree with that.
Yep.
But I will add this. There was actually a study done in 2000 that looked at fear. And they noticed that with women, it was not fight or flight. women would tend and befriend. So they found there was this different way that women went about dealing with fear, which was to come together in groups with people. But I don't think you can say it about everybody, but I think maybe there is more of a tendency of that, and that study proved it.
It's interesting. That's a neat point here. Some data that I've been reading and researching on. Women may take longer to start the business because they plan it out a bit more, I think. But when they start, they last longer in business than their male counterpart, which I think is an interesting stat. Let's talk about mental health. Okay, so we've gone through this terrible thing called COVID. We're still in it, I guess. And that really changed for so many entrepreneurs on the way that they had to operate their business. Jennifer, you're in a people connecting business, right? Where you were staging these great events. I don't know, Natasha, how it affected you. I know you have an online presence. I know that Chantal, you have an online presence, but let's collectively, when we looked at that COVID thing, isolation, mental health, how we had to pivot or change our businesses, how did that affect all of you? Anybody here can start off.
I can start.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, 2020 was the hardest year, one of the hardest years of my life. Like it was a lot. So having a coach and a couple of coaches to help me through that really saved my life. And yeah, all the uncertainty because of the pandemic did cause me to shift gears. And I can say, like with excitement, it helped me to produce my garments locally, which is outstanding. But the mental struggling that happened during the pandemic was really, really hard for me. And I wouldn't have gotten through it without talking to my coach, Adele, who really helped me get through it.
Yeah. Natasha, how did this affect your business and maybe a mental health outlook as well?
Well, mental health has always been a challenge. I've always been low, like always low, probably most of my life. So when everyone else became starting to get low and depressed, with COVID and everything, it started, it affected me. I think it changed me, the way I thought about things and perception. Like you have to relook at everything, right? Like the online stuff, like nobody was coming to your place. Like I'm still old fashioned. I still like to fit some people. Like I've had a store and people still really want to come to my house where I grew up to get fitted for moccasins. So the whole game changed. So, we moved online. I offered, I changed it up. So my mental health, like if I was having issues, I was like, okay, why am I having issues? And then I'd write down the problems and then I'd figure out solutions. Not all the solutions happened right away. Sometimes it took days or a couple of weeks, but you have to work at it. If you just give up, then you don't go anywhere. So
yeah, good points. Jennifer, I think about you're in such a people connecting business, right? In what you do. Mm-hmm. And I know that you've had these wonderful events in the past in Toronto, and a lot of that stopped during COVID, right? Mm-hmm. So how did you kind of pivot and keep things going? And then how's that had an impact in any mental health at all?
Yeah, well, my business was producing live events of up to 1,000 people. And in March 2020, my business disappeared overnight, and it's still shuttered right now as we talk 2 years later. So I had to figure something out really fast. And what I did, I have a very large network, about 18,000 business owners in the Toronto area, and immediately turned out to them and reached out to them. Now, I know this because of the work that I do and the studies I've done over time that have shown that disconnection leads to addictions. It leads to mental health issues. It leads to disease. It leads to a slower recovery from people with health. So I already knew this, and I knew my well-being depended on me staying connected. It's sort of like the I intuitively, or it's just my default setting is when things aren't going well, reach out to the people around me. And that's what I did. And actually in doing all of that, I found opportunities to make money. And so I just shifted overnight, basically, to doing other things and helping people that could make money in the existing economy make more money, and they were willing to pay me in the process. And so my business is totally transformed, and I love the shift. I love the change, and I love what I'm doing now even more than I love doing the live events.
Yeah, I guess there's that saying, right? When life happens, it also presents opportunity.
It does. But going back to your mental health, this is my recommendation for anybody. Look, you don't need COVID to go into isolation. You run a business, you can very easily, working 70 hours a week, end up in isolation. And that is why it's so important. Build a community of people around you who care about you, who when you're down, they're going to raise you up. You know, you've got to be careful about who you put into that network. You need to have great people around you that want to see you win. And likewise, you want to see them win too. And when you start building community like that, it's like you'll just shoot off. Your business will be good. And when you're down, you'll be pulled up fast so you don't stay down there long.
Yeah. It's almost in a way like entrepreneurship is a little sub-community, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And people in business are a little sub-community, and I think they are generally supportive of each other.
Yeah.
Chantel, at Mohawk, part of our conference, we have a Dragon's Den style pitch competition. And it's so fun. You know, you talk about how things have changed. Just before COVID, we had our first live conference at Mohawk in the theater there. We had about 600 students. Wonderful. There was a pitch competition that students that are in our business programs pitched to a panel of judges, very much like what we see on Dragon's Den. And the next year, we're all planned and we're ready to go. And all of a sudden, we got a message, stick around because we might be having a challenge. And the COVID announcement came out that day. So we had to shutter our conference and move it to an online platform like we have. Having said that though, Chantel, we have students that are going to be in the pitch competition. You've been through it. You got to look at Kevin and Arlene and the rest. And what tips do you have for a student that's now going to go in? And our prizes aren't, you know, as huge. I think our top prize might be about $3,000. What advice would you give a student that's going to go and present and pitch their business idea?
Well, based on my experience with pitching with Dragon's Den, I before the pitch day or the day of filming, there was a lot of anxiety and in the coming days towards that, and I almost backed out because I was so riddled with fear. And I said to myself, okay, why do I want to back out? And the answer was because I was afraid to look stupid. And because I've seen some Dragon's Den episodes. And then I said to myself, something told me, is like, if that's the reason that I'm not going to do it, it's not good enough. It really isn't.
Perfect.
So that pushed me through, and thank God it did, because all the stories, the negative stories I created up in my head, the fears that I created in my head, I really created a movie in my head that wasn't true. And when I got there and I went through the experience, it's like, oh, this is nothing like what I imagined it would be. I imagined some nightmare. And it was the exact opposite. So I guess my point is, don't let your fear of the unknown stop you from moving forward. Just get to the other side of that, because the gifts could be incredible. Maybe
that's a great point.
But there could be one.
Yeah. That's a great point. And a lot of our students are going to listen to that comment carefully. Mm-hmm. We're almost finished here, and I have some student questions that I had ahead of time, but just a couple more things. Natasha, I know that you're very active in your community, in giving back. I know that you've been active in building homes. You've been active with working with clean water, septic systems.
Yes.
Why is that important for entrepreneurs to kind of look at the giving back part?
You get what you get what you give. That's the mentality I was always brought up on, and I swear it works 100%. It just keeps everything moving. If you don't give back, it's like it's just going one way. I'm very spiritual and I'm all about karma, and it feels good. If it feels good and it works, it just keeps going. The motion keeps going. People want to be a part of it. They want to be part of the bigger picture. You know, it's not just like giving back one way. It's like, you know, like sometimes like I'll give out moccasins for families that can't afford gifts at Christmas. And then like just that, like you don't even need to advertise it. For some reason, it just comes back full circle. So yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's
and it's a great feeling. As an entrepreneur, I think it's, you know, I think we all feel good in giving, right? And giving doesn't have to be monetarily. Giving can be time. Jennifer, giving can be you passing on a connection to somebody else. It's just so many different ways of giving. Let me go to the student questions really, really quick. So, most satisfying moment in business. All of you have a minute each.
Okay.
Most satisfying moment in business so far to date.
Well, I went out of my way to go to an event that somebody invited me to in the middle of a snowstorm. I thought it was her event and I just wanted to support her and got there. It wasn't even her event. And I went there and actually met the speaker, and the speaker became one of my clients. And I went on to help that person make between $1 and $2 million working together. And it was, you know, just budding, just starting my business or whatever. And it was just such a big deal to land in the beginning of my career. And that was a mentor of mine as well. He was just a wonderful, generous man, Brian Clemmer. And so I'm very grateful that I had people that invited me to things and that I showed up.
Sounds like could be many, many things. Natasha, most satisfying moment in business.
When everyone said I couldn't and I can't, and I did, and I won.
I love it. That's empowerment.
Yeah.
Chantel, most satisfying moment in business?
There's so many, but the ones that stand out for me is in my first year of business, when I had repeat customers come back for the same product that I had. I only had one product. And I had return purchasers. So that was so validating for me. And I have to put in the dragons. 4 out of the 6 dragons want to work.
Sure.
Come on. So that was
interesting. You know, last year in the same panel format, I had Jen Harper from Cheekbone Beauty, and who was also a presenter on Dragon's Den. And I think the same question, she also mentioned the Dragon's Den experience. From a college student, advice for a college student who wants to become an entrepreneur. 1 minute each. What advice would you give a student that wants to become an entrepreneur?
Take business in Mohawk College, general business. That's number one. That's got me in so many doors I couldn't even imagine.
Okay, Jennifer?
You know, I'm going to second what Natasha said and say, take a business course and learn how to do all of it, not just stick with your passion. Learn how to market, learn how to sell, learn how to do the financials, learn how to project, you know, at what you're going to do. And then ask for help and never stop asking for help. I've not gotten anywhere where I don't need help anymore. But learn that ability to have the courage to go out and say to somebody, can you help me with this? And build a network around, not just of clients or people that could do business with you, but also these mentors and these people that care about you, and reach out to them regularly and stay in touch with your faculty, and like just keep people with you all the way through the journey.
I love it. Chantel, how would you answer that question? A student that says, I'm going to want to be an entrepreneur, what advice do you have for them?
Well, my advice would be to find somebody who has what you want already, and reach out to them, because sometimes I think people are intimidated by other people they deem more successful, but they put on their pants the same way you do. So find somebody that is in business that has what you want or something similar than what you want, and find out how they did it. Also, be part of a business community, whether in your school, and then find an entrepreneur group to that you can ask questions for help for moving forward. That's very important, asking for help, like Jennifer said. I worked by myself a lot, too afraid to ask for help, too ashamed to not know something, and it's bullshit. Sorry, it's BS. Ask for help when you don't know. No one knows everything.
Yeah.
And nor do you need to.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Great advice. Chantel, Jennifer, Natasha, on behalf of our Mohawk students, our faculty, our alumni, and our leadership at Mohawk College, as well as our many community partners we have at Mohawk, I want to thank you for spending some time with us today. I love doing these sessions because I learn. Let's stay connected, please. We'll figure that out. I think Jennifer probably has some ideas how we can all stay connected there. And I wish you all success, continued success in your businesses. I'm Stephen Stunt with Mohawk College. You're here at the Mindshift Entrepreneurship Conference. Our speaker panel, thank you so much and have a great day in business.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Great to be here.